There is a precise moment, right before someone attempts to diminish you, when they believe they already hold the advantage. It's visible in their posture, audible in their tone. They assume you will defend yourself. They assume you will react. And reaction is surrender. Most people are conditioned to respond instantly, to prove, to correct, to fight for perception. But the instant you rush to speak, you step into their frame. You validate their challenge. And now, you are no longer centered. You are engaged in a game they initiated. Marcus Aurelius commanded legions. Armies moved at his word. Yet in his private writings he reminded himself daily, do not be disturbed by insult, because insult requires your participation to exist. Without your emotional consent, it dissolves. Understand this clearly. Emotional reaction is the currency of manipulators. They provoke, you respond, they win. The Stoic does something different. He does not suppress emotion, he governs it. And that governance is terrifying to those who depend on chaos. Tonight you will learn 5 responses, not comebacks, not sarcasm, not theatrical dominance. These are psychological locks, ancient in philosophy, modern in application. When used correctly, they silence rooms without force. Silence makes people uncomfortable. It exposes insecurity. When someone attacks you verbally, they expect resistance. They expect energy. They expect friction. Silence denies them all 3. Epictetus taught that we are disturbed not by events but by our interpretation of them. An insult is sound waves, nothing more, until your ego translates it into threat. Silence interrupts that translation. Smart response number 1 is deceptively simple. Is that so? Then nothing. No defense, no escalation, just space. That space becomes pressure. When you respond this way, you force the aggressor to confront their own statement. They must either elaborate, exposing weakness, or retreat. Most crumble under their own explanation. In negotiation psychology, this is called removing reinforcement. Emotional personalities rely on feedback. Without it, their performance loses rhythm. You become the still axis while they spin. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best answer to anger is silence, not because silence avoids conflict, but because silence reframes it. It signals, I will not descend." Silence is not weakness. It is selective engagement. And selective engagement is power. When you choose when to speak, you control the battlefield. Aggression feeds on certainty. The louder someone speaks, the more they attempt to project dominance through assumption. They believe their conclusion is final, unquestionable. But certainty collapses the moment it is examined. Seneca observed that anger is often a confession of weakness. When someone attacks verbally, they are rarely defending truth. They are defending ego, and ego cannot survive interrogation. Smart response number 2. Why do you think that? Calm, even tone. No sarcasm. You are not seeking approval. You are shifting terrain. The moment you ask this question, something shifts. They expected resistance, instead they face scrutiny. Now they must construct logic where there was only emotion. Most people cannot defend their hostility rationally. Their words were impulsive, their tone emotional. Under examination, contradictions appear. In negotiation psychology, this is frame reversal. You are no longer the accused, you are the evaluator. And evaluation is power. Epictetus warned that if you are provoked, your mind has agreed to participate. The question disrupts participation. It creates distance between stimulus and response. And here is the hidden advantage. When someone is forced to explain themselves, they often hear their own irrationality for the first time. You remain composed. They begin to unravel. Weak individuals defend themselves endlessly. They over-explain. They justify. They chase validation. The elite do something different. They define their boundaries once and stand behind them. Marcus Aurelius did not waste time correcting every critic in Rome. He focused on governing himself, because control over self is superior to control over perception. Smart response number 3. You're entitled to your opinion, delivered calmly, without sarcasm, without tension. This statement does not surrender. It separates. It communicates your perspective belongs to you. It does not penetrate me. When you withdraw the need to correct someone, you withdraw their leverage. They can no longer hook your ego. And without a hook, manipulation fails. Seneca wrote that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Often the insult exists only because we amplify it internally. Boundaries silence that amplification. Over-explaining signals insecurity. Underreacting signals dominance. When you state your boundary once and disengage, you elevate yourself above emotional turbulence. Remember this: power rarely argues, it declares. And declaration, without repetition, is the language of those who do not need approval. Not every confrontation is loud. Some are subtle: a passive-aggressive remark, a disguised insult, a calculated tone. These are not accidents. They are probes, designed to test your emotional stability. The average person reacts to the surface of the words. The Stoic examines the intention beneath them, because beneath every hostile statement is a motive, and motives lose power when exposed. Smart response number 4. What outcome are you hoping for here? Delivered calmly, even rhythm, no accusation, just clarity. This question forces intention into daylight. It removes ambiguity, it demands purpose, and most aggression cannot survive purpose. When someone must articulate their objective, emotional chaos transforms into self-awareness. And self-awareness under scrutiny is uncomfortable. Seneca believed anger is temporary madness. This question cures that madness by requiring logic. Logic slows impulse. Impulse loses force. You are not attacking. You are observing. And observation is higher ground. The observer cannot be controlled by the observed. Calm exposure is dominance without aggression. It is the ability to hold a mirror steady while others confront themselves, and most cannot endure their own reflection. There is a final level of control that few ever reach. It is not verbal dominance, it is not psychological strategy. It is disengagement. The willingness to walk away without explanation. Smart response number 5. I don't engage in conversations like this. Calm, neutral, final. No anger, no performance. Most people stay in arguments because they fear losing status. They confuse endurance with strength. But strength is choice, and the choice to disengage signals abundance of power. Epictetus taught that if you wish to improve, you must be content to be thought foolish by others. Let them believe you avoided the fight. You did, because not every battle deserves your energy. Attention is currency. When you withdraw it, value shifts instantly. The manipulator loses leverage. The provocateur loses audience. Silence and distance become your final statement. The Stoic is dangerous not because he attacks, but because he cannot be manipulated. His reactions are chosen, his speech is measured, his exits are deliberate. When you master these 5 responses, you do not silence others through intimidation. You silence them through psychological superiority, and once you reach this level, arguments lose their appeal. Conflict becomes optional, and power becomes internal. Most people will continue reacting. They will defend every insult, chase every disagreement, and surrender their composure daily. But you are here, which means you seek control, not validation, precision, not noise, authority, not applause. If you intend to move through rooms without raising your voice, if you intend to dominate conversations without aggression, then discipline your reactions. This is AION STOIC, not for the loud, not for the impulsive. For those who understand that silence, restraint, and psychological mastery are weapons. Subscribe and refine your edge.